So what is EFT and how do you get results from doing it? Hi, I'm Sandra Inman, and if you're new to this channel and you'd like to stand confidently in your power and shine your light and thrive in the world doing it, then hit the subscribe button below so that you don't miss anything. In this video, I want to talk about how you can use EFT to get results. And if you've ever used EFT, let me know in the comments field below because I'd love to hear from you. So what is EFT and how do you use it to get results? Well, in a nutshell, EFT is simply tapping on the various acupressure meridian points in your body. And while you're tapping, you voice whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever it is that you're experiencing or thinking while you're doing it. Now, there are two schools of thought as to why this actually does something and achieves very positive results. And the first school of thought is the original school of thought, which is that we have an energy system and that the discomfort either in physical pain or emotional pain is to do with a block in the energy system. The second theory is actually being proved, and that's the scientific research that's been done on EFT. The scientists have found that when people are using either acupuncture, acupressure or EFT, that they're actually discovering the amygdala in the brain, that fight or flight center in the brain, is calming down. It's going from being in fight or flight mode to being calm. And when they've done cortisol testing of the saliva, they have found that the cortisol levels go down after about an hour of tapping as well. Now, they don't know why that happens or even how that happens, just that it happens. So we know scientifically that EFT has an effect on the nervous system. And if you want more information about that scientific research, you can go to eftuniverse.com, and there's plenty of research papers that you'll find there. As EFT relaxes the nervous system, our conscious mind can focus better. It can problem solve better. It can be more creative. So even just the calming of the nervous system can help us cognitively function better. When a thought triggers a negative emotion in your body, and you use EFT to calm the nervous system down, then that thought will no longer trigger that same emotion. So if you have a thought that triggers fear, and you calm your nervous system down while you're thinking of that thought, while that thought's still there, then that thought, the brain will develop new synaptic pathways, so that when you think that thought, it no longer goes down the fear pathway, it'll now go down a calm pathway. And the interesting thing about all this is that once you calm the nervous system down and you've retrained the nervous system to be calm, you can even then find that the thought itself has changed. So the mind affects the body and the body affects the mind. And that is how EFT works its brilliance. So how do you use it? There's many different types of EFT out there now. There's the traditional EFT, there's faster EFT, but by and large, any EFT is going to work for you. As long as you're tapping on the meridian points, it has an effect. There's a few extra things thrown in with different traditions. There is a little bit of NLP thrown in and eye movement therapy thrown in. But by and large, if you're tapping on different points of your body and you're going through the process the right way, you are going to get results anyway. So what I'm going to show you is the quick tap method of EFT. Now, you can learn the long method of EFT, which is the EFT method I was trained in, and it's great, but I don't want to make this video too long, so we're just going to do the quick tap method. And all you need to understand is that if you're feeling an emotion, and we'll focus on emotions in this video, you can also use EFT for pain management, and you can use EFT to change your thinking, you can use EFT for phobias, you can use EFT for many things. I'm just going to focus on emotions in this video. And I'll take one of the negative or uncomfortable emotions. I don't even like calling them negative. So there's fear, there's anger, there's frustration, there's resentment, all of those icky feelings. And I'm going to choose resentment because a lot of people have a problem with resentment. They feel guilty about being resentful. And one of the wonderful things about EFT is that you acknowledge how you really truly are feeling and you honor that. There's no judgment. Judgment is simply not invited to the EFT dinner table. Judgment is a completely useless thing when it comes to EFT. It will block you from making any progress in EFT at all if you are using judgment to block how you feel. Judgment has no use when it comes to EFT. You have to be honest with yourself, open and truthful with yourself. No pretending that you're a good little girl when you're feeling deep resentment underneath a lot of anger at something or someone. In EFT, you just air whatever it is that you're thinking and air whatever it is that you're feeling. It brings it up to the conscious level. And if you're a law of attraction person who's worried about all the negativity to do with EFT, it's more of a problem for you if you keep those negative emotions contained in your subconscious mind. If you're suppressing your feelings and your negative thinking because you're worried that it's going to cause something bad to happen to you, you're just pressing it back down into the subconscious mind, and that is actually where the magic works. That's where the law of attraction works on the subconscious. You're more likely to attract the bad stuff to you if you don't bring that into your conscious awareness than you will if you bring it into your conscious awareness and then release it. So don't go panicking about EFT being negative. You're bringing all that unconscious crap, which is going to keep attracting all the shit to you anyway, up into the conscious mind where you can release it and it no longer becomes a problem. So with EFT, what you're doing is tapping on the various points. In the quick tap method, we do we've got the eyebrow points here, which is where your eyebrows start, on both eyebrows, the side of the eye, here on the bone, under the eye, which is the bone here under the eye, under the nose, in the cleft of the chin, and then we have the collarbone point. You have your sternum, you have your clavicle, and when you bring them together and go out in a slight 45-degree angle, there is an indentation. That indentation is the collarbone point. And then there's under the arm, which might be a bit hard to see on this video. And for ladies, that is where your bra line is, and for men, it's about 4 inches under the arm. So you just tap on these points. And when you're tapping on these points, you just simply verbalize what it is that you are experiencing and honor that. So you would just say, I'm feeling all this resentment. This resentment. Oh, this resentment. This resentment. This resentment. This resentment. This resentment. All of this resentment. I've got about the top of the head. Now the top of the head point, which is the crown point, is actually not quite in the middle, it's just behind, there's a bit of an indentation in there too. And that's the crown point. So go through a few rounds of doing that, tapping on the feeling of resentment, and allow the feeling of resentment to be felt in your body. You must feel this in your body. Now, provided you're not having a really bad trauma of some sort, feeling the emotion is helpful. If you are suffering from something like PTSD or something really, really quite intense, then we don't recommend that you do go into the emotion. There are other EFT methods that we use that allow you to tap on the trauma without actually recalling the trauma. But in this video, we're just playing with emotion. So you're tapping on that resentment, and you keep tapping on this resentment. Oh, this resentment, this feeling of resentment. This feeling of resentment. This feeling of resentment in my body. And then you're describing what the fear of the resentment is in your body. This tension in my body. This sickness in my stomach. This resentment in my stomach. This resentment in my heart. This tension in my heart. So you're tapping on the emotion and you're tapping on where you're feeling that emotion in your body. So that's bringing it into the body. Taking it out of the head and bringing it into the body. And you keep checking in after a few rounds of tapping to see how strong the resentment is, or whether maybe it's changed. Maybe you don't feel resentment so much as maybe you're feeling anger now. So then if you're feeling anger more than you are resentment, you start tapping on the anger. I'm feeling really angry right now. Oh God, I am so angry. I'm furious. I am livid. Totally angry. And you feel it, you know, this anger in my chest, this pressure in my chest, this anger in my throat. And you go through what emotion you're feeling and where you're feeling it in your body until you bring that anger down. When you get to, and how you measure that is that you start off with what we call the SUD scale, which is a 0 to 10 scale. 0 means you don't feel anything, and 10 means it's quite intense, it's totally intense. So if you check in with your body and say, well, where is that resentment sitting? Is it on the scale from 0 to 10? If it's an 8, keep tapping because it's high. Once you start to get it down to around about a 4, you can start to add in the reframes. But don't add in the reframes until you get the intensity down to a 4. Because if you try to do positive thinking or positive affirmations or positive tapping when you've still got the intense emotion, it's not going to work. You need to get it down to around about a 4 before you start adding the reframes and anything positive. Now, EFT isn't all negative. When you get down to about a 4, you start reframing things into becoming more of a positive light until you get to the point where you're actually tapping on really positive things. But you can't do that until you've aired out all the negative stuff first. So each time you go through this remaining resentment, and you get it down to around about a 4, you can start going, well, what if it's okay? What if it's really not that bad after all? What if I'm just overreacting? And start reframing. You can keep tapping on the resentment until you get it down to a 0, or if it's to do more of it with a thinking thing, you can start to do the reframes. So if it's an emotion, you bring it down to a 0 emotionally. If it's a thinking problem, you bring it down to a 4, start the reframes, and then let it go to a 0. When you feel you no longer have that resentment, check in with yourself. Ask yourself, can I bring that resentment back? Or if it went from resentment to anger and you've tapped through all of the anger, try and bring the anger back. Try and get angry about the situation again. And if you can't, you're fixed, you're done. You've wiped that out. And then you can move on to whatever else that you want to do. The important thing with EFT is that as you're tapping, if new things start to come up, if you have new thoughts, new emotions, take note of those and tap on them. Keep tapping on anything that comes up for you in the tapping process, because that is your subconscious mind letting you know that this is the stuff it wants you to change. EFT is quite complex. It's not the easiest thing to explain on one video, but I'm just trying to help you understand the process so that you're not just sitting there doing the tap-along videos and wondering why they're not working. Certainly the tap-along videos can uncover stuff for you, but when you turn the video off and check in with your nervous system, if any new stuff's coming up for you, so if you're tapping on the fear of money or something like that, and these other things start coming up, then you, on your own, can start tapping on those other things. So that's how you do EFT, and that's how you get results. You put in the effort, you follow the different aspects, and you try to bring everything down to a 0. If you don't bring these things down to a 0, they can creep up again. So they could be down to a 2, and then you go, okay, well, that's enough. I've spent the last hour tapping. I've had enough. If you don't go back to that the next day and work on that to bring it down to a 0, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now, they can come back up to a 10 again. So make sure you wipe it out. So if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you'd like to do some EFT with me, just visit my website and it will have all the details of how you can contact me there. I'm Sandra from freedomsuccesscoaching.com, and I'll see you on the next video.